Hey family, this is Reginald Kuakaru, and I wanted to talk to you today about the difference between the Kemetic idea of salvation and the Christian idea of salvation, okay? And the reason I want to do this is because I had someone come to one of my posts and they made a comment that the ancient Egyptians or Cometians, and understand I use those words interchangeably. So Kemetic is Egyptian, Egyptian is Kemetic, but I use those interchangeably. But basically, he said that the ancient Egyptians believed in life after death and judgment. And it's interesting when someone comes to me in the comments, and I can immediately see that they have a Christian frame, okay? They have a Christian frame of reference. And when I say a frame of reference, or a framework in this case, it means that a framework is something that focuses you on an idea or a way of thinking and believing, okay? It's kind of the same way that a picture frame might focus you in on a picture, okay? It's meant to make you look at a certain thing or look at it in a certain way. Well, Christianity and Kemeticism are frameworks, okay? But the Christian framework is basically built on the idea that it is going to control you through fear, okay? That's the main way that Christianity makes you submit to these ideas and doctrines. You don't even understand them or know them. You just learn through tradition these ideas, and you submit to them because you're afraid of going to hell, okay? And this is where this idea of salvation comes in. So understand that from the Christian idea that we were taught, salvation is the idea that God's grace saves us from hell, okay? That just, in other words, we're born sinners anyway. That means that we're no good from a Christian perspective anyway. We're just born, wretches and blah, blah, blah. But, and we're no good, and simply because of God's grace, He saves us, okay, or gives us salvation, okay, if we believe in Jesus as our Savior, all right? So it's always funny. God's love is unconditional except for that one condition. So, that condition that, hey, you got to believe in Jesus or else all this bad stuff is going to happen to you. But at any rate, the other thing is that the Christian frame is from a perspective of a physical body that is being saved, okay? The Christian framework is about a physical life. The Kemetic framework is different, okay? And I need you to understand that when I'm talking to you about these ideas, I'm talking from a different frame, okay? And I'm talking from a different paradigm. So I'm not talking to you about Christian ideas that are called Kemetic, okay? These ideas were originally something and thought of in a totally different way than how we were thought of as Christians. So from the Kemetic frame, okay, or from within the Kemetic framework, the idea is that you are a soul, okay, and the soul is the main character in its mythology, okay? So it's coming from the perspective of the soul and its transition through and out of physical life, through and out of physical life, okay? So understand that frame is different. So when we're talking about these ideas, we're not talking about the Christian way of thinking that you're thinking about a physical life, okay? Now, with that said, the idea that there is life after death definitely was Kemetic, okay? But it was an idea that you lived many lives, you reincarnated. That in reality, in the beginning, the idea, there was no term or no ancient African or Kemetic term for death or like death, because there was no end. So from the idea of salvation, the original idea, it was that you are saved to live another life, okay? You get to live another life. So there was a concept of, from a Kemetic concept, or let me go back. The idea of death is even different from the Kemetic paradigm or the Kemetic framework. If you're talking about from the perspective of the soul, which we are in the Kemetic framework, death is the idea that the soul is what happens to the soul when it descends into the physical world, okay? Or the underworld, as they call it. Another term for the underworld was, the Greeks called it Hades. The Hebrews called it Sheol, okay? But those two terms simply meant the soul that is on or in the earth plane, okay? So death was when the soul lost this omnipotent awareness, okay? Because outside of the physical body, the soul is omnipotent and aware of all things, omnipresent, all over, every place, everywhere, okay? And and omniscient, all-knowing. That's what you are as a soul, all right, when you're there. But when you descend into the underworld, you forget that. When you descend into earth, into the physical, you forget that. So that's the perspective. So when you're saved, that means that you are saved from the second death, okay? And the second death is when a person does not become aware of their higher self, or the connection to their higher self, and submits to the guidance of the higher self, okay? That's the second death. And that second death was like you will not be able to live another life, you know? So that I don't want you to take this like too literal, but essentially the second death is just being, is lacking knowledge of your higher self, okay? But that was what the ancient Kemetic idea of salvation was, is that you were saved from the second death, meaning that you got to live another life, okay? So guess what that means for you? That means from the Kemetic perspective of salvation, you are already saved, okay? Because you're alive, you're here, you're living on earth. You've already went from one life to another, and you're living this one. So you're already saved. The idea is now that you learn the ideas and the tools, gain the tools to raise your knowledge and awareness of your higher self. Okay, that's the ideals, or connect to your higher self. So that's one of the things that Kemetic spirituality is about. And the reason why I like the Kemetic framework is that it helps you unlearn the old Christian crap, but teaches you the principles that actually become more applicable in your everyday life. All right, it becomes something that is that you can apply and that you can use, rather than you just trying to live in a way that you're so afraid to live that you're afraid to live and you're scared to die, you know. And that's what Christianity does for you, which is a horrible way to live. Any of us that have tried to live that way and are now free of that, we can't imagine ever going back to that, all right? But if you're in it, you don't know any other way, and you're being told that this is the best way. And that living that way as a Christian, especially in our society, living that way is so normalized that we think that's just the way it's supposed to be, and it's not, all right? So understand that you are already saved. I want to make that clear. You are already saved. You are a soul having a human experience. And now that you are becoming aware, because I know the only reason that you're even on my channel is that something has woken you up and you're here and we're vibing, okay? That's the bottom line. We're here, you're here because you have reached some level of awareness and you want to cultivate that awareness and make it better. So the way I help do that is, you know, I've created my class at AfricanMindRewire.com. And if you want to get information on that, go there. And then I recently created a course and a workshop at the Esoteric Christ. So as long as there are spots there, you can sign up for that. So you can go to www.theesotericchrist, and Christ is KRST, okay? The Kemetic version of that idea, not the Christian version, okay? But yes, you are already saved. I say again, you are already saved from the original way that this idea was taught, okay? Not the way that Christianity has twisted it into something that is almost unrecognizable, all right? All right, guys, this is Reginald Kuwakaru. I'm signing out, and at KCL, you learn how to live life boldly, authentically, unapologetically, and on your terms without guilt and shame. Other people talk about spirituality. I am going to teach you how to spirituality, if I can say it that way. Well, I guess I did then. Huh. Well, anyway, guys, y'all have a great day, and I will talk at y'all another time, okay? Bye.